Today's topic is technology. Hi, I'm Dr. Nancy Zare. I am the sales whisperer.
And I'm Hirsch Repun. I am the message therapist.
And together we are going to talk about technology and also clue you into our exciting news about the Know and Sell Insiders community. But first, technology. So, Hirsch, what's your point of view?
Well, I joke. It's funny. I joked before we started that my point of view was I'm against it. But here's the funny thing. Here I'm sitting here with my headphones on, right? Which I never do when we do our know and sell pointers, and I am. It is a matter of technological mystery. So my approach is that we should accept that there is a degree of mystery to technology. Now, a technologist will tell you, no, it makes perfect sense. It's either human error or technical error. But here I switch the thing off. I set it to my external sound. I've had echo cancellation on, and meanwhile, here I am with my headphones. So my point is, and I, this is not an original point of view. It's the one that I have adopted, which is that we cannot control everything technologically. We are not always going to be able to get what we want, but the show must go on. I learned that in theater, and the show must go on, and I love that about live broadcasting. I love it about theater. I love it about stand up comedy. So I share with my clients, look, yes, you should have the best technology available, but do not get hung up on it. Don't let it stop you from accomplishing your goal.
What sage advice. I totally concur. I too have deeply embedded within me that same sense of the show must go on. And again, it isn't about me, it's about delivering a message to the audience. Hence, that's the most important thing. Do whatever it takes to deliver that message, to show up, to be present, to share what information I can, or maybe it's just simply to support someone and be emotionally there or witness. Uh, so I totally concur with you. And technology, well, yes, it's been a friend. It's also been an anathema, a mystery as to how to get it to work sometimes.
Yeah, I'll share another pearl of wisdom from a friend of mine named Charlie Morgan. He's a brilliant young uh, British uh, growth expert, and one of the things he says is don't get caught up on excuses that you may be using in the technological world. You may say, "Oh, I have to figure out this thing. I have to fix this thing. I have to get the sound right, or I have to do my website. I have to update my website because I want it to look perfect." We do a lot of things that we busy ourselves with, I think, that have to do with technology. And we should take a moment. You're a psychologist, so you can offer your insight on this. That we're kind of busying ourselves with the things we know are going to consume us, but maybe not. We don't want to do the hard stuff that's probably going to be more fundamental to our success. What do you think of that?
I totally concur. And it's interesting that even though we started with the topic of technology, my inclination is to be talking about how this applies to other aspects of our life. And you just brought up something important about the fact that we have we use technology, we use busyness, we use those excuses to keep us from something else. And earlier, you said something that, again, I think underlines the same message, which is that, we're not willing to go forward until things are just so. Well, these are obstacles to success that have to be overcome. I think that, yes, there may be the technological thing that could have to be solved, but there are many ways to, excuse the expression, skin the cat. I don't know where that came from. I'm not I'm not a real fan, but I do use it. And anyway, there are many ways for us to overcome some of these obstacles. But many of us, because of our self doubt, stop ourselves from going forward. And technology is a wonderful way to stop yourself in your tracks. When things don't go right or something is, off a bit, boom, it just halts you in your tracks.
Yeah. And and I have my journey with technology. Um, somehow a lot of the people that listen to us and that we work with as clients and colleagues are younger than we are. I don't know how that happened, but
Because
I
we got older.
we
That's how
did.
it happened.
But I think it's it's
Young at
it's
heart.
it's our responsibility to share some of the things that we've learned. And my journey at first with technology was to resist it simply because it was hard.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I finally got over that. And as I started to adopt technology, I became an early adopter and a pro technology person and professional. But then I noticed, now I'm adopting all kinds of things that are getting in my way, and I'm adopting way too much, and I'm spending too much time on it. So I think there's a happy medium for all of us when it comes to perfection, which is probably a topic we can also just put on the list. Perfection, but let's stick with technology in the context of our new community. Maybe that's a chance to kind of bring those two ideas together.
Well, we've actually had some technological challenges that we're still overcoming in creating our community. It exists, but the platform we thought that it was going to live on, there's some questions about whether it's going to succeed. I know I haven't updated you fully with all the things going on because I am striving to find the solution or at least options
Right,
before I tell you kablooey, it's not working.
right,
Because
right.
that's not that sometimes is a discussion that gets us nowhere. It's very easy to complain or to grouse about something not going the way you expect or want. It's better, though, to continue to look for the way to solve it. And so you said something about, there's multiple layers of technology. Maybe we have too much of it. I actually recently engaged someone to help me do a technology audit, and that
Mm,
is a particular area of expertise. In fact, I know people who do this for companies before they invest in software. They should take a look at what they currently own and how they either speak to or don't speak with each other, and how we're Mickey Mousing, trying to make these things connect and do what we want. Whereas there could be a better solution by dumping some of what we've got and perhaps using a more sophisticated platform, because technology is constantly changing.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that news in this context where it's productive. The fact is, I agree with you. If you were saying to me every 5 minutes, oh well, now I called this person back. Now this person did that. Now they told me no. Yeah, now they tell me yes. What good would that do? Because I could be posting about the group, or I could be sharing information, or doing, writing some copy. It's like we're actually double braining, you know, as my friend Justo Diaz, who's a technologist and a writer, and a philosopher, said to me years ago. Double braining is the best way to go. Both combining our expertise with our clients and our community, as we're doing with the Know and Sell Insiders, or just tag teaming and doing and taking care of different things at different times. But for two people to be wrapped up in a technological fiasco would be would be pointless. So, I think there's a lesson for everyone in that as well.
And interestingly enough, the part of the lesson, Hirsch, I think, is because you and I have a similar style. And that's what allows us to work efficiently and effectively with each other. Neither of us have the style of being overly detailed. And hence, I don't need to tell you each step of the way in terms of what's going on. So, because of that, because that's not my style, it's not your style, you're relieved that I'm not like messaging you every 5 minutes with the details. And at the same time, I'm a big picture thinker. Let's get it solved. Let's get the results, which I know you would want as well. So we're compatible in terms of styles, but not every combination needs to be aligned. You can also use each other's strengths when they're your weakness. So I mentioned that I'm doing a technology audit. Her strength is the details.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, that is not my strength. Now, I'm okay in it. You have to be to get a doctorate, because getting a PhD is not a measure of intellect. It's a measure of following rules that an institution has laid down so that they screen out the people who don't follow them, and therefore only award degrees to people
Yeah.
who will comply.
That's right, and that's why I don't have a doctorate, because I don't think I could follow the rules enough to, I was, as my mom used to remind me a lot. I never liked to color inside the lines. She
That's
knew she knew she knew when I was a little kid and I would draw pictures outside the lines that I was not a rule follower, although I'm disciplined. And
yes.
there's a big difference. I'm interested to know if there are certain personality types that that do well with technology. Does that does how where does
Oh,
that fit in?
yes. Oh, yes, definitely. The number eight style, this is the style that is a careful decision maker. They take eight or more touch points before they can make up their mind. They immerse themselves in information and data and research statistics. They're very focused on ROI, return on investment, or as we like to say, return on impact.
Right, right.
But that number eight buyer loves technology. It's their friend. And they're the ones who actually create and invent it, because they're always looking for ways to exercise and develop and use their knowledge base and their smartness, their quickness to get answers more effectively, more efficiently. Now, there's a second style that also loves the technology, and that's the number two style. This is the person who takes only one or two contacts, quick, decisive, fast, want it off their plate. They like the status of having their Apple Watch or their, whatever it might be that's the latest in technology. They don't know how to program it or maybe even use it, but it sure is good for my status.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I
And
think
since
that
neither of us are the high twos or the high eights, this is the reason why maybe we're just indifferent to the technology, you know?
right. I was thinking about that while you were talking. I was like, well, we're not high twos and we're not high eights,
No.
but it is a valuable thing. I was thinking about this today again, circling back to the know and sell insiders,
Mhm.
that uh, that it works both ways with sales and messaging. That there's the side of the equation that is about your brand and your message, and there's the side of the equation that's about the buyer's personality and reception to the message and the fit for you. For it's interesting, this is off the technology grid, so to speak, but it's only Tuesday, but I've had so many conversations already this week, or exchanges on LinkedIn and elsewhere, with people who seem to either fit or not my personality. I was going to send you yesterday the profile of a person that I was talking to see what you thought, because all I will say is that they had a very suspicious streak in them, and no amount of humor or empathy would reduce this kind of suspicious, accusatory, pompous,
Mm.
and self-aggrandizing stance. So as you can imagine, did not work out with
Mhm.
them as a possible contact, as a person I want to have a meeting with. But what is the correlation? Because this will be useful, I'm sure, to our audience. What is the correlation between pomposity and self-aggrandizement and suspicion of someone else's veracity? What is that
It's
about?
that 2A combination we've just been talking about. The 2 style is the one that often self-inflates and, has the self-aggrandizement and can be pompous as a result. The 8 is the one that's asking questions, hence the suspicion. Like, I don't take
Mm-hmm.
anything for granted. I've got to get underneath, and you can't be telling me. I've got to
Right.
figure it out. So it's fascinating that we're circling back to that uh, a very personality type that can be challenging, and
Yeah.
and they're not just challenging for us; they're challenging for many people. They often tend to be entrepreneurial. Why is that? Because the 2s love to be in charge,
Uh-huh.
and the 8s often can't. They're smart and they develop technology and find themselves as an entrepreneur marketing it. Uh, so there you
That's
go.
That's it, and that's why I thought I might be able to help that person, was because I felt like I said it in a very nice way. I think there's communication. You're an expert in your field. I'm an expert in my field. My field is the communication part, not the not the technology. And it's very interesting that you even mentioned that. I didn't
But they
say
have
that
to
they were
be
a
open.
technologist, but they were.
They
You
have
know.
to be open. And a
Yeah.
lot of times, because the number 2 is, well, I know, and the number
Yeah.
8 is, I know, they're not open. So
Yeah.
that's where that number 4 style sneaks in. But we'll talk about that at another time because I'm looking at the time and we are
Yes.
over time. So, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. We didn't talk much about our No and Sell insiders, but there are posts on LinkedIn. Both Hirsch and I have been posting. Founding members this month, you get extra privileges, extra bonuses. So check it out. And with that, we'll just leave that as a teaser to your sales success. Wait, it's to our messaging and sales success. It's Nancy
Yes.
here, the sales whisperer, and
And Hirsch Repin, the message therapist.